Hello, this is Stephen Lynn, the principal at Fort Zeller Elementary School, and we are here for our fifth episode of We're All in This Together. Once again, we are interviewing some of our wonderful teachers here at Fort Zeller, trying to show a little bit of the other side of them. We know, as we've been talking about with some of our staff, that teaching is a performance job in many ways, but there is so much more behind our teachers. With the remote learning, we've definitely learned a lot more about our teachers and their different personalities. And, we just want to share with our community that our teachers are human and they have the same frustrations that many of our parents may also have at home. We've certainly put our entire community into a different world in the last few weeks. So with us today, we have Miss Stuart, one of our great kindergarten teachers. Miss Stuart, you want to say hello?
Hello, I hope everybody's having a good day today.
Yes, and well, today is a special day for kindergarten, am I right? I mean, what do you guys have planned for today in kindergarten? And why did you guys do that?
So today would have been our field trip to Zoo America, but with the weather, I'm kind of glad that, it didn't actually happen because we would be blowing away all over the zoo. So, but we have a virtual field trip planned today. So I hope everybody has a lot of fun watching videos of the animals at Zoo America.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love that with remote learning that there's new opportunities to be creative and like a virtual field trip. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is an idea that all of you guys in kindergarten, in partnership with our kindergarten teacher friends over at Jackson, that kind of put this together. I mean, you guys had the idea before you guys even came to me or even Principal Howard, right? I mean, yeah, yep. I love it. So as we're doing this interview, some of the students are probably already on the virtual field trip.
Yep,
cool.
Absolutely.
Very neat. So speaking of this virtual remote world we're in, I'm sure this is not what you envisioned when you were, going through your teacher prep program and, getting your teacher certification. So, and I'm sure that are you marrying kind of what you pictured yourself as a teacher and all the whys behind you becoming a teacher with this new reality? How are you making sense of that?
I think it's safe to say that, everybody's having a hard time adjusting to this. This isn't something, we've ever been prepared for. But I think, like we mentioned with the virtual field trip, I am embracing the technology side and being able to come up with new activities that maybe I can't do in the classroom. And I think that's fun. And I've kind of opened up a new creative side to my teaching that I didn't know I had. So that's kind of fun in that respect.
Well, I don't know if that's new. I mean, people have kind of joked that you're quite proficient with technology and always have been, and you've kind of done a good job helping some of our other, colleagues with getting caught up with some of the technology resources that they probably didn't know beforehand. How's that been as far as helping out your colleagues?
It's good. I think it's kind of like teaching our students. It's fun to see them succeed with something new. And, I know like my coworkers, once they get it and they're excited, I'm excited for them because now they've just unlocked a new aspect to their teaching and being able to connect with their students too. And that's something else I was going to mention. I think this experience has really reaffirmed my thoughts about the importance of teaching and being able to connect and make those deep, meaningful relationships with my students. And I put that as my focus every week in planning and whatever I'm pushing out to them. I want them to know that I'm here for them and I care for them and I want them to do their best and succeed.
Yeah. How are you doing that? Because I know, every morning during the typical school day, your children are so eager coming off the bus, and they're practically running into your classroom. They're so excited to see you. So very clearly you've developed a strong, positive bond with your kids. And what have you been doing to try to maintain that, enhance it? Do you find it to be more difficult now? Is it just different? I mean, how's that? How are you managing those positive relationships that you've built so strongly beforehand?
So every morning I have a morning announcement, and I think that's the biggest consistent piece to my virtual instruction that I can provide. I try and bring in silly things and, use the virtual backgrounds to make things fun. I just try and imagine like what my students might need that day and, try and picture their faces in front of me while I'm doing all of this. And
Yeah.
it's not the same, you're right. And it's very hard because it's not that instant, response from them. I have to kind of post it and then wait. But I think just seeing their responses to the different activities and getting to respond with an audio recording or a little comment or things like that, it helps. And their videos and their pictures that they send too mean a lot. Put a smile on my face every single day. So keep sending.
That is one of the cool things about the Seesaw app is that you can do kind of a written typed feedback. You could of course do the heart, kind of like a like button on Facebook. And then the audio record feedback, do you use that often then? I mean, I'm sure that has to bring a smile. Any of the feedback, I'm sure that has to give a smile to your students.
I try and incorporate the audio as much as I can each week. So something I want to keep working on, but.
Yeah. Well, how about, what does it mean to you when kids do take the time? Because I know, and you and I both know, every home situation is different. Some parents are working in essential jobs. Others are, unfortunately, may not be working temporarily or even permanently. And, like I said, everything's been kind of turned upside down for a lot of members of our community. And of course, that's going to impact households. So we know that, I'm probably projecting on you, but I'm sure you see that when kids do get on, that is an effort on their part. How does it make you feel when you see your children participate in the work that you put a lot of time pushing out?
I get this deep sense of joy because it just kind of fulfills that piece that I can't be there with them. And I know that their parents are working really hard to make sure they're getting on and doing those activities. So thank you for that, parents. I really appreciate that. And I think when they respond to the activities, I know one of our activities we have is like a sight word fun activity where they can choose whatever one they want to practice their words for the week, and seeing them either make hopscotch with their words or climbing up and down the steps to practice the words, I see their enthusiasm and their excitement, and that kind of fuels my energy and my creativity as a teacher to keep planning and keep coming up with these activities each week.
So despite the distance, there's still ways where you guys are feeding each other, almost feedback, right? I mean, that's very cool. But and I think we kind of touched on this, that teaching can't be divorced from this larger world that we live in. We don't, I know that sometimes in the school we might feel like a bubble, but we are definitely not a bubble right now. We are asking our families to participate and help out and be stewards of their children's education in partnership with us. But at the same time, you also are Miss Stuart, the human being, and you have a life too. And how has it been? How are you doing? I mean, on first glance, I look behind you and a lot of people would assume you're in your classroom, but that is not your classroom. So tell me, how are you dealing as a human being? And I know being a teacher is part of that, but how are you doing?
It's definitely, the first few weeks were rocky. It takes adjusting. I think just, following a self-created schedule is not always easy for me. I do one thing and then I think of something else. I'm a little flighty in that respect, but I think just following a routine and sticking with it is the biggest thing that has helped me through this. Taking it one day at a time, not trying to plan 5 days in advance of what I want to do. And I know my husband and we have been able to spend more time with our fur babies, our dog Lola and our cat Gracie. Be able to get her out.
I met recently on Zoom, so
yeah. She's a handful.
Definitely wants to make herself heard.
Oh, absolutely. She loves people. She's very friendly, and because she's so friendly, she's also a puppy, so she comes off a little bit too energetic and a little bit scary at times.
Oh, come on. No, I don't see that. Of course, I am behind the screen, so.
Yeah, that you have some protection there.
And your fur babies, I'm sure, bring you great joy. So how are you taking care of yourself physically, socially, emotionally? I mean, this is change brings anxiety for most people, and we all cope with it differently. How are you coping? How are you taking care of yourself?
Making sure I get active every day. So whether that's taking a walk with the dog, doing yoga, which is really cool that the place that I was doing yoga before, they're doing Zoom sessions too. So I still get to see everybody, and that's really neat. Just, making sure I step away from the computer, making that conscious effort every day to set those boundaries so that, I go on at a certain time and then I'm off and I take a break. I can check back later, but I need to make sure that I'm making those choices to get away from the screen.
Your world may be similar to mine. I find myself less mobile. I mean, during the school day, a lot of us are on our feet all the time, and I find myself on my feet quite a bit as well, despite having an office. I find myself seated for a good chunk of the work day. Has that impacted you? Does that make it more urgent for you to feel like you have to get out and walk and set boundaries and just even the physical changes of your job?
Absolutely. I think the first 2 weeks I would sit down, and I'm the kind of person that likes to sit and get something accomplished in one sitting, and this is not the time to do that. I need to make sure I take lots of breaks like my kids would need during the day.
Yes,
get up,
kids, you need to take breaks. If you need to take a break, take a break. Yeah.
Even your teachers need breaks, so you need them too.
The parents need breaks, kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. No, that's neat. Now, how about socially? Oftentimes when I talk to my friends or even colleagues, for those of us who are really practicing the stay-at-home order, I mean, we're really not connecting, and yet there's something special about you and your kindergarten colleagues, and then of course there's your other friends. But my viewpoint, of course, is just you and your kindergarten friends who you guys get along great with. How are you managing the social needs that every human, let's be honest, kind of needs to have to nourish ourselves?
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that because I forgot about that piece. Lots of Zoom sessions. I love my husband, but at some points we need some space and we need time with our friends too. Yeah. So we've had lots of Zoom sessions. Some with my friends. We actually set up trivia the one time on Zoom.
It's all good. See, that's real life. That's real life. Yeah.
Yeah. Forgot to turn off the alarm.
You're good. I actually had to mute my phone. Someone just texted me and I was like, I hit it real quick. Hopefully you didn't hear the ding.
Nope, you're good. Sorry about that. But that, and last week we did some other games with my husband's friends on Zoom too, which it's fun to kind of rethink the ways that you're connecting. But a lot of Zoom sessions, very much needed. Taking time just to laugh with your friends and your family every single day is so important. I mean,
somebody asked me a question, and I like this question. I'm going to throw it at you. It's kind of a curveball because it's not something that I said I would ask you. But if you don't have a good answer, you don't have to. But, obviously we've all had to make changes in our life, right? With remote learning and staying at home. What changes in life when everything goes back to normal do you hope to keep, going on? And what changes are you just thinking this is temporary and I don't love this change, and once we go back to being normal, I'm going to ditch it. Like what changes have you made to help this situation? It could be for teaching, it could be for your personal life, that you are saying, hey, I've made this change and I kind of like it. I'm going to keep doing that in the future.
I think just my commitment every day to try and get up and move, and whether it's take a walk, do an exercise video, doing yoga every day, those decisions I would put on the back burner during the normal school day, just because I was putting other things first. And I think keeping that as a priority and setting aside the time for friends and family. I mean, I know how many times my friends and I have scheduled things to do things, and it just falls by the wayside because of our busy lives and busy schedules.
Yeah, I will. There's a common theme with how you and other people have answered it, and I think it's getting back to the human side of life. And I know not everybody who's watching knows the behind the scenes, but teachers are workaholics. And there are times where I mean, I have had, and I'm notorious for staying late at the office. So for me, it's having dinner with my family, those things. But yeah, oftentimes I do find myself either getting sucked into a conversation later into the evening because some of you guys are still in the classrooms doing work, or me intentionally trying to find some of you guys to kick you out of the building because it's good for you, So
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's that human side. Awesome.
Yeah.
So hopefully that wasn't a tough question.
No, that was a good one. Yeah, because
All
you're right. Because
Yeah.
thinking about that human connection that we focus for with all of our students, we need to maintain that in our personal lives as well. So
and you bring up a good point. I think modeling what we preach to our children, we preach wellness and taking care of yourself, mental health, and all of that will impact academic health. And sometimes, and I will admit publicly here that I'm not always the best at it. I need people sometimes to remind me to, not work so late, just like I need to remind you and others. But there is something about remote learning where, because you're posting feedbacks, I feel like sometimes I find myself working later, but I've also paced myself more. Like, I don't need any immediate feedback. I'm not sitting in front of a student or a teacher needing feedback. I just wait for it to come back in. So I need to work on my boundaries a little bit, but I also kind of like being able to pace myself because we're kind of interacting virtually, and posts and feedbacks, those can wait sometimes.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, how about a last question here, because we have hopefully we have a couple parents who are watching. I would love to know from your perspective, what words of encouragement would you like to give to our parents? And a lot of our parents are kind of dealing with having to put that teacher hat on to help their children. And of course, you're a teacher. How are you? What words of advice, suggestion, encouragement might you want to share with them?
So I am, like I said before, I don't have any kids, so I am not a parent. So I give you guys so much credit, because I mean, to be able to balance your own job and your own daily routines and schedules and take initiative to work with your children on their own education, I give you so much credit, and keep doing what you're doing. You're doing an amazing job, and don't let anyone tell you any different, because I guarantee that every bit of your hard work, your teachers appreciate so much. So.
Yes, 100%. I think you kind of touched on it, how much it means to you when children do submit something, and it doesn't even have to be perfect.
Nope. It can be a little scribble. I don't care. As long as they tried, they looked at it as much as they can.
Right. Well, at the very least, we know the children are alive and well, because we certainly miss them a big time. I mean, super big time. So, yeah. But, well, anything else you wanted to share, or?
Nope. Just that I miss my kiddos and seeing their smiling faces every single day. And thank you to the parents and those that are working so hard at home with them to continue that positive support.
Yeah, parents, we know it's not easy, whether you are not working right now, and so obviously there are other priorities, trying to make sure that you find ways to manage the bills and things like that. But we also know that we have some parents who are working essential jobs, and we're really grateful for your role in the economy, as well as healthcare, if you work in the healthcare field. And then all of us with school-age children are now tasked with helping with the management of our children's education. And one thing I really appreciate about sharing this series is you have people like Miss Stuart and all of the teachers we've already interviewed and future teachers we interview who are 100% invested in caring about you guys. we want to be partners. So if there's anything that we can do, we're open to feedback too. We want you to know that we're not just these voices or names behind screens. We're human beings. We're trying to be mindful about the human life that all of us are experiencing right now. Did I sum that up kind of right? Your thoughts too, Ms. Stewart?
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Stewart, for joining us. Thank you to our audience for joining us as well today. We will post this interview on our YouTube channel, which is Principal Fort Zeller. Our PTO has been very gracious about posting the interviews as well on the Fort Zeller PTO page. If you want to check this interview out, or if you want to check some of our past interviews, just scroll through our YouTube channel or scroll through the PTO Facebook page and you will be able to find them. Thank you so much, and thank you again, Ms. Stewart, and we'll see everybody again sometime soon. Bye.